So, as everybody knows, the Director of National Intelligence has been putting out different things uh, about her view of what happened in the Obama administration in connection to President Trump and allegations related to Russia and the 2016 campaign. First, she put out a few statements of her own. Then this morning, she put out a declassified report that had been written by what's the guy's name? What's that former congressman's name? Somebody help me. Devin Nunes, thank you. Myself, I thought of it myself. And then today, extraordinary turn at the White House podium. I could try to summarize this, but I'll tell you, I've said this every episode since we talked about this. I really don't quite understand what she's saying and what the charges are. And people say, well, have on smarter guests. Well, I have two geniuses who are going to explain it in a moment. But here's number 6, Wall Street Journal headline. This is pretty typical. White House and Gabbard ramp up attacks on President Obama. There you go. Over alleged Russia conspiracy. Tulsi Gabbard disputes findings that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help Trump, which previous elections have concluded. Again, most of the reports, including one by the Senate Intelligence Committee that was bipartisan, up until now, it's been accepted that Russia wanted to help President Trump win the election. No indication that there was collusion, although there was contact. Tulsi Gabbard's disputing that. So here is Tulsi Gabbard claiming that, in fact, Russia wanted to help Hillary Clinton win. Number 7, please.
We understand from intelligence what Russia said that they had. And the important point here is that if they were trying to influence the election, as President Obama and James Clapper and John Brennan, everybody said they were doing in order to support Donald Trump's election, they would have released the most damning of that information, some of which I detailed here. You'll find the rest in the report, prior to the election to help Donald Trump win. They specifically withheld what they had on her, the most damning information, because they thought that she would win the election. They had plans to release it just prior to her inauguration to, again, sow discord and chaos in America.
So if you know the history between Tulsi Gabbard and Secretary Clinton, they've not always said the nicest things about each other. So that's the predicate for where we are now. Just a little breaking news here. The Justice Department says it's going to be a strike force to probe the allegations that Director Tulsi Gabbard is making. You can put up that statement. This is a press statement from the Justice Department. And she said she was going to refer what she found to the Justice Department. I'm going to make this a little bigger here so I can read it. Justice Department announced the formation of a strike force to assess the evidence publicized by Tulsi Gabbard and investigate potential next legal steps which might stem from her disclosures. The department takes alleged weaponization of the intelligence community with the utmost seriousness. And then the Attorney General says pretty much the same thing. Now, I will say that I applaud this because I do believe that this should be dealt with not by press statements, but by the Justice Department if there are crimes that were committed. Now, Tulsi Gabbard said a pretty remarkable thing today about Secretary Clinton and her physical mental state. Here's number 8.
Organizations in which State Department officials offered, in exchange for supporting Secretary Clinton's campaign for the presidency, significant increases in financing from the State Department. They also had documents that showed the patronage of the State Department to State Department employees who would go and support Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers. Then CIA Director Brennan and the intelligence community mischaracterized intelligence and relied on dubious substandard sources to create a contrived false narrative that Putin developed a quote-unquote clear preference for Trump.
Okay, now I probably should recuse myself from this portion of the program because I myself am on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers. So I'll power through. Now, interesting media story here. Here you have the Director of National Intelligence, former member of Congress, military veteran, trusted aide to the president, which Caroline Leavitt confirmed again today, making extraordinary allegations about Hillary Clinton. If you go on the website of the Washington Post or New York Times, at least last we checked, No reference to all of this. So let me play one more thing from Tulsi Gabbard, and then I want you guys to respond at great length to tell me what you think of this and understand it. Here is kind of the coda of what Tulsi Gabbard is saying. Extraordinary accusation, number 11, please.
Expressed intent and what followed afterward can only be described as a years-long coup and a treasonous conspiracy against the American people, our republic, and an attempt to undermine President Trump's administration.
All right, I don't like to turn everything into a media story, but if this were a Democratic administration saying these things about a Republican, the media would be asking a lot of questions to advance the story. Instead, many of the questions in the briefing seemed to be intended to knock down the story. Here is a clip that the White House posted of a CNN reporter in conflict with Tulsi Gabbard, number 13, please.
Multiple intelligence community assessments released in the months leading up to the November 2016 election concluded that Russia had neither the intent nor capability to impact the outcome of the U.S. election. On December 5th.
We've been listening there to the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, continuing on what has now been a multi-day effort, not only with public statements like this, but release of documents to attempt to back up the quite extreme allegation that President Obama is guilty of treason and that he worked in some sort of conspiracy with Hillary Clinton, etc., in the assessment by the intelligence community at the time that Russia interfered in the 2016 election.
Okay, Elizabeth, let's start like this. Do you think the allegation that Barack Obama led a treasonous conspiracy is definitely true, definitely false, or don't know?
I'd throw another option in there, which would be up to everyone's interpretation.
Yeah.
I think if you were to ask really anyone about the events of the last 10 years, like since Donald Trump came onto the scene, you would get a different answer depending on who you were asking about most of the major stories that have happened over the last 10 years, right? Ever since Donald Trump came on the scene, really no one agrees on anything. I had that debate with someone today. We were talking about this and someone said, does the truth even matter anymore? Because even before Tulsi Gabbard got up there, before Caroline got up there, people have their own opinion about what they're saying before they say it, right? They either hate Donald Trump enough to ignore everything he says, or they believe that Barack Obama was a part of this to begin with. You know, maybe that's why so many people are confused about what the real allegation is today. It's because we've actually heard that allegation for quite some time. I don't think anyone that believed that the intelligence communities colluded against Donald Trump thought they did that without any kind of involvement from Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton. I don't think anyone really thought that. So I think it kind of depends who you ask. Kind of what you said is still true. The fact is that if this was the other way around, then it was a Democrat administration accusing this of a former Republican president, people would be reporting on it very differently and looking at the facts very differently. I don't expect that to happen at any point in time. At the same time, I would only hope that people can pretend to put their hatred of Donald Trump aside for the next few days and try to look at this openly and honestly. But the fact is, if you ask anyone what has happened, whether to do with the phony Russia collusion story, to do with the 2016 election, the 2020 election, the 2024 election, anything that Donald Trump's been up against, people are going to tell you different stories, probably depending on who they voted for. And I think that's the major problem here. We're never going to get to the truth anymore because everyone has some kind of agenda.
All right, very well said, very profound, and I think true.
Want more great clips like that? I've got an idea. Hit the subscribe button, be part of the Two-Way community, never miss a clip, and you can always watch our full episodes, join them live, go to twoway.tv.